rent or buy a home? This is how to evaluate for yourself. My name is Erica Day. I am a real estate agent in the Maryland suburbs of Washington, D.C. I am here to give it to you honest and straight. Now listen, I was a renter for a really long time. Now I'm a homeowner. And here's how I evaluate with each of my clients which one they should do. So let's talk about some reasons to rent. So number one, if you're gonna live someplace for less than 2 years, let's say you're a college student, or maybe you're doing some contract work for the government, which is typically short-term work and very common in this area, you might wanna look at renting instead of buying. Let's say you're moving to a new area and you're really not familiar with the neighborhoods yet. This area is totally unfamiliar to you. Maybe you want to rent for the first year or so that you're in a new area and learn the neighborhoods and see what's the best fit for you. Here's one no one ever mentions. Let's say you're living with a partner for the first time. You're just moving in with them. You don't want to make that big commitment of buying something, but you want to try it out, see if you're compatible, see if you're a good match living together. Maybe rent with them for a year before you buy something. And lastly, if you travel or work a lot and maybe your home is simply just a place to rest your head at night, you're gonna wake up again in the morning and leave for a period of time, do the whole thing again the next day, and it's just not someplace you're gonna spend a lot of time, maybe you just need the very basics of a home. Okay, now let's talk about some reasons that you would purchase instead of renting. So number one, if you plan to stay somewhere for 2 years or more and you want to build equity and build wealth in a property, then buying is for you. If you're a more established person with a stable income, stable relationship, and you know that you're going to be someplace long-term, then purchasing is probably a better idea for you. If it's important to you to make a space your own and really make it into what you want it to be and paint your own colors, renters don't usually have the luxury of making a space their own. They kind of have to go with whatever their landlord has chosen. So those are some practical reasons to either rent or buy. Now let's talk about costs, okay? You have upfront costs for each one. Now, whether you rent or buy, you're gonna have to pay moving costs, right? And that amount really depends on how much stuff you're moving. Now, in order to move into a rental, you're gonna need first month's rent and security deposit, which is equal to first month's rent. So basically 2 months of rent you're going to need in order to move in. If you're buying a place, you're gonna need your down payment and closing costs. Let's talk credit scores and income for a minute here. If you're making a purchase, you're gonna need a 580 credit score at a minimum in order to get a mortgage loan. Then a lender will consider your entire financial picture, including your debt to income ratio. Now, if you're renting, it's similar, but landlords are actually, for the most part, looking for a 680 or higher credit score, much higher than for getting a mortgage. And in terms of income, landlords are looking for 3 times the monthly rent. Lastly, let's talk about your monthly costs once you've moved into a place. In a rental, you're just gonna have to pay that monthly rent, and that is for the length of your lease, and then once your lease expires and you have to renew, your rent is most likely going to go up. With your mortgage, you will have your monthly mortgage costs, and we break that down into what we call PITI. That's the principal and interest on your loan, that's the P and I, and then you have property taxes and homeowner's insurance. Of course, on top of your mortgage, you have the maintenance cost of owning the home. So if the HVAC system breaks, if you need a new roof, that is completely on you to take care of those costs. However, keep in mind that your monthly mortgage will never go up. And as a matter of fact, if you refinance when rates are lower, it can even go down significantly. And the final cost consideration for a homeowner would be any HOA or condo fees that are associated with your property. If you want to dig deeper into any of this and understand more of the details, feel free to private message me.